Good morning, traders. Today is Wednesday, May 11th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, what to expect here today? I just wanted to quickly mention when the CPI data came out, we had a massive sell-off, but that doesn't really cause me to panic at all. Those types of sell-offs that happen instantaneously like that, it's mostly just emotion and, algorithms piling on. So that's not necessarily as bearish as you might think. But let's step back and take a look at what's happening with the market. We're in a massive downtrend. Okay. Yesterday was a balancing day. That was to be expected after having this much of a downtrend before that. The market has to have a chance to absorb and cool off a little bit. Now, specifically looking at the ES, not the NQ, we'll talk about that in a second. But looking at the ES, this balance that we had yesterday was not bullish by any means. The reason I think about it like that is we couldn't get above the previous day's high, so we still have a trend in lower highs and lower lows on the daily. And the value area engulfed the previous day's value area, but honestly, I see that as a continuation of the trend. I see that as overlapping to lower. Because, let me just get that drawing tool up here. Because we were only a tiny bit above it, this tiny little bit above. So to me, that's the same as overlapping to lower. Overlapping to lower value is a sign that the downtrend remains in the market. So that is bearish to see. So coming right out the gate this morning, my perspective is we're either going to have another sideways day like yesterday, or we're going to have some further selling. And the only thing that will convince me otherwise is getting above the high from Tuesday and then coming back down and finding support. Okay, but to me, that's the least likely scenario to happen here today. So I would say we're either going to be looking to go sideways or lower. Right out the gate, we are opening inside the previous day's range. So we would expect chop. We would expect the market to grind up and down. And it's difficult. I mean, there's so much support and resistance inside these ranges. Support, resistance, all over the place. It's hard to have an exact level of where it's going to bounce between. But I would say if we repair this poor low at 39.61, and then we don't immediately pull back up, we're probably looking for continuation to the downside. And if we can get above yesterday's, this node above the POC, so 40.28, same thing to the upside, right? But in between that zone, inside of here, we are likely to just get chopped. The market will grind up and down and up and down and up and down, and it will be very hard to predict where it's going to reverse and head back down. As far as the overnight inventory is concerned, it was slightly net short, but like I said, the end of the day there was all emotion, so you can't really trust that at all. Got to just give the regular trading hours a chance to take a stab at this and figure out what they want to do. Looking over at the Nasdaq, so the Nasdaq was a little bit different yesterday. It was the day's range was inside the previous day's range. So unlike the ES where we had lower highs and lower lows, we had it inside the previous days. So that's a little more neutral, a little bit more of a sign of balance. We also had value overlapping to higher. So that may just be a fluke and we get continuation lower today, but that could also be seen as a signal that the downtrend is coming to an end and the market is looking to try to turn around and head the other way. So that would make us think we could either go sideways today or maybe try to go higher. But again, that may just be a fluke. So I would treat it the same as the ES. Let's keep an eye on the lows and see what happens if they break below them, because there is certainly a chance for continuation to the downside. Certainly don't see any trade opportunities right out the gate on either this morning, unless you are a scalper. Too much uncertainty, as they say. And so the chop begins, pushing into the first little node of resistance right in here and immediately beginning the process of chop. So we got support down here. Let's see what happens when they come into that support. Do we chop right back up? Good morning to the Shaw, Scooball, Michael, Arthur, T-Bay, David Glass, Hustler Forever, Jay Trader, Cortman, Joe Texas, Arcaleon, JT, Mac Vins, Rev, Greg, MW, Jocklo, Being Prosperous, Trading Donkey, what's so good about it? Oh, the morning? Yeah, nothing so far. Nothing good today. I suppose I'm being an optimist, saying good morning. McStockster, good morning to you. Bossman, Cyrus. RK saying she meant Game Master. Okay. David V, good morning to you. Dean, good to see you. Oh, she's responding to Donkey. I get it. Jack, good morning. John, good morning. Phoenix, salutations. Nor Auto Trader and Overlord in the house. All right, so we're testing this last support that we have down here in this little node of volume around 68. If that breaks, we're looking to repair 39.61, and that could lead to further selling. Scooball, can we assume there's some kind of balance area? I think it's a little too early to try to make an assumption about a balance area. But if, for example, this morning we were to dip below, repair this weak reference, and then head right back up to the high, sure, then we could start to see this as a potential balance area. But one day of balance, that's not enough. It's a good question, though. Trading Donkey cryptocurrency subreddit is claiming that BlackRock and Citadel are behind the Terra Luna meltdown. It would make sense. They did just announce that they're going to get into dark pools for crypto. So if you were a big, powerful institution like that, and you wanted to buy up a bunch of crypto because you're going to start having dark pools, you don't want to buy it at 40,000 or 60,000. You want to get that price as low as you possibly can. And how do you do that? You create panic. You create panic and you squeeze everyone out of their coins, and then you buy them up at discount. And you're the big winner. That's how they do it. Speaking of crypto, let's take a look at Bitcoin. See what that's doing today. $29 broke 30. Dun 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 dun. Rocky says, damn, missed the pre-market stuff. Was smoking herb and listening to Green Day. You do you, man. Levi says, I always got to take that morning trade in and out animal style. You mean during the chop right now? Yeah, I mean, there's people, this is what they're experts at. You know, scalping these quick little moves up and down. That's just not my forte. Okay, we got good taper on the low. Doesn't mean it'll be the low of the day, but that if it was, it's a good low. Nilesh, good morning to you. Welcome. Nunez is here. Good to see you. Blue shirt, welcome to you. Daniel, hi. Levi says NQ might be cleaving its way down to the week overnight low. We'll see if support holds at yesterday's low. Yeah, that's still just chop. But it is interesting that they got below yesterday's low and didn't get more selling piling on. That's less bearish to see. So NQ obviously pushing into resistance right now. If it can break through 12,330, look for a push up to test 12,434. As the chop continues. Wouldn't fall in love with it beyond that, though. Pavel, good morning to you. Will says, good morning. Took a look off the 39.49 bounce in the AM. Happy about that. Let's not lose gains today. Good plan. There's nothing wrong with once you have a nice little, gains for the day, your P&L is in a nice place, with either stepping aside or just sizing down. So you don't risk giving it all back. I think a lot of traders would be a lot more successful if they just learned to stop giving back their gains once they're up. Trader Dante talks about how you have to think about risk versus reward like in real time. So it's like if you're up on a trade, letting the trade come back to break even is actually losing money because you're giving back money that you currently have. Even though you may not have actually exited the trade yet, you still think about it like that is your capital. So if you let it come back to break even, you're losing money. It's a great way to think about it. Once you have those profits, you do not want to give them back. As opposed to the way some people think, which is like, oh, if I made some money this morning, then I've got more money to bet with. I can take more risk later in the day because I'm risking profits. No. Can't think about it like that. You actually want to size down and protect that capital. All right, well, they are slicing through this resistance. So that's a little bit bullish to see. What we want to see now is the market to get some resistance somewhere. It might be right around 49. it might be a repair this weak reference, and then we pull back and we test where the support is. Can one of these nodes right here become support? That would be bullish for continuation. But right now it's still just chop. Price exploration. So at this point, as we're getting resistance here, if the market wants to be bullish today and try to go higher, it should be able to create support either here at the 4010 area or at halfback at 4,000. If it starts to pull all the way back down below here, it's just more rotation. It's just more chop. So the buyers should be able to prove themselves pretty soon here. Novice trader, good morning. Unless there is a gap play, you tend to wait for market to digest and open before you take a trade. That is 100% true. And that's just from experience, right? I've tried to figure out how to play morning chop, but I just get, what happens is if I get on the wrong side of it, if I have a couple of losing trades, it messes me up for the rest of the day. Psychologically, my analysis is all wrong and I'm frustrated and I lose money, and it's like, so I've just learned from my own experience, the morning chop is not a place for me to do business. Better to wait until I have some certainty, and that way I protect my mental capital. I don't get stressed out first thing in the morning. But yeah, you can't ignore a gap. There's always an opportunity there. Okay, once again, we got some low volume nodes in need of backfilling. All right, so we now got, excuse me, decent taper at the high. It's not perfect. It's okay. But only 21 contracts is a little bit weak. And might need some more two-sided trade up there. But the first order of business is giving the buyers a chance to prove themselves. So you got a low volume node in here. Those often need the market to pull back down and put in some more contracts. We call that backfilling the low volume. So once it does that, do buyers step in? Can they hold those ticks up above the zero line? Okay, so that's the low volume node starting to backfill. Next question, can we find support above that halfback? Can the buyers hold it up? No, they're already breaking the zero line on the ticks. Coop, one camp says never move your stop, don't be emotional, and sell too soon. The other camp wants me to cash out the moment I see price dip because skunking a trade is losing money. Confusing? Well, they're just concepts, right? You have to figure out what works for you. For some people, set it and forget it trading, putting your stop, put your take profit, and just let it ride is the best way to do it because that's the best way to manage their emotions. For other people, not letting trades go against them at all and taking profits sooner is a way to manage their emotions. So it really just depends what kind of person you are. But what I was talking about earlier was that it was just that specific concept of like, if you take a trade in the AM and you make a bunch of money and you're good, like you've made all the money you would normally make in a day, it's better to size down to take less risk rather than to size up and to think I've got this extra money that I can now risk. It's better to size down and protect those winnings than try to use those winnings to get more winnings, unless you're really good, right? Unless through experience, you've learned how to size up and everything. But for most people, it's better to protect your capital, to focus on not losing money rather than focus on making money. All right, well, I'm starting to get a little bullish here. They backfilled that low volume node, and they instantly found support. So they're probably looking to push it higher. Next resistance at about 40, 43. Jocklo says, on Tradeovate, it gives you your P&L based on time of day. I found I was net losing in the first 30 minutes, so I stopped doing it. Been more profitable since. 100%, bro. I love that. What is difficult for most traders is accepting that. Saying to themselves, I just shouldn't trade in the first 30 minutes. Because then they see a day where they think, oh, look at all this money I could make, and they just do it anyway. So if you've got the discipline to recognize that behavior and make the adjustment and not FOMO in, well, then you've got good odds of being a successful trader. David Glass, I'm astonished how many traders don't understand or care about market structure, the auction process, or risk management. They just want to make money right away without any context. Market profile has been one of the best tools for me to understand this. There is an investment in time to learn it. Yeah, that's the trick. The only way to learn market profile is by spending months and months and months staring at it. But yeah, what astonishes me the most about traders is that they can recognize they have a problem, but then they won't make a change to fix it. That's the one thing I never understood. People will see, for example, they lose more money in the first 30 minutes than they make on average, yet they'll keep trading the first 30 minutes. They won't go, look at this, it's obvious, I should stop trading in the first 30 minutes. Like they just, I don't know, psychology is weird, man. All right, so NQ barely finding support there right on that 50, around that halfback. So same as the ES, if they start to break below that halfback, then it means the sellers are not in control and the chop will continue. But if they can hold it up there, they can take another poke at the high. Back to the ES. Alex, just shoot me an email. I'll check on that for you. Xavier, my sound is low. Is anybody else having trouble hearing me? Oh, Jeremy says sounds fine to me. John Lash, 160 people watching, only 46 likes. We got to pump those numbers. Thank you, sir. Yeah, please smash that like button. Gillies, do you have an explanation of your market internals anywhere? How to set them up and interpret them? I do. Give me just a minute and I'll post a link to it in the comments. All right, well, obviously we got some two-sided trade taking place here. The buyers seem to be in control. So if they can break through this node of resistance, they should get a little pop higher. The reason I say that they are in control is because they're keeping the ticks above the zero line. They've pulled the value area. When we opened this morning, the value area was overlapping to lower. They've now pulled it all the way up to being overlapping to higher than yesterday. So that is a little bit bullish to see. And they haven't even had to test the halfback. If the market breaks below the halfback, just call it the 4,000 level. Look for a large pullback with all these longs covering and getting squeezed to the downside. But if they can hold it up here at 4,000, it would be bullish. All right, I would describe myself now as mildly bullish, but not for much to the upside, at least just to get up here and test this node in the overnight for resistance. But it sure seems like the bulls are trying. Not enough to turn a banner green, but I am slightly bullish here. Greg H., why is the midday so hard to trade? There must be more to it than lower volume. Well, it's not hard for everyone, right? There's tons of people who can trade midday fine. I imagine it has more to do with mental capital, right? Your brain can only function at 100% capacity for so long. It's like saying, if I played in a basketball game from 9:30 in the morning until 11:30, why is it harder at 11:30? It's like you're exhausted. You've been at it for so long. It's harder for your brain to make clear decisions. Particularly if you start right away, first thing in the morning, trying to make guesses on chop every day, and your brain's running 100 miles an hour trying to figure out what's happening, then of course you'll have less mental capital later in the day. I do find that as a comment I get all the time, that people say it's easier in the morning, harder in the afternoon. Jeremy, can I talk NQ? Just for you. Okay, NQ looks rotational. That does not look as bullish as the ES. Why do I say that? Value is overlapping to lower. They also did not find support at the halfback. So this is just chop. So it's just short-term traders picking each other's pockets, waiting for more information. I'd say keep an eye on that opening price, like 12,240. If they break that, there'll be some longs that get liquidated down there. But until then, just play the support resistance game. Assume they'll buy support and sell resistance. Trading Donkey says, I am not bullish. 100% opening swing was short covering. Sure, like I said, that sell-off was emotional and it had to retrace. But this right here, that's new buyers. All the shorts that needed to cover did, and now more people are choosing to go long. To get my banner green, though, they got to get up above that resistance at 42. Because there will be sellers waiting up there. Okay, I am finished. I swim with the current. There is no spoon. Oh, the the Matrix movie. You must not try to bend the spoon, but simply recognize there is no spoon in the first place. Oh no, you must not try to bend the spoon. That's impossible. You must just recognize there is no spoon. I should turn that into a social post. That's a good one. Xavier, what time do you recommend for the tick chart? That's a great question. I've always just used the 15 minutes, but a lot of people like the 5-minute. So experiment with it and see how, does the 5-minute bouncing around constantly drive you nuts? Or do you prefer to have that more like detailed information? I've just always used the 15, and so that's just what my brain has learned to compute. So I'm fine with a candlestick sitting there and just one candlestick moving up and down and just watching how it moves. Whereas some people want to see a new candlestick every few minutes so they can see the pattern visually. Captain Axelrod, been a minute, bro. Welcome back. Will, any possibility for a donkey trade? No. First, we have to start trending, right? So we got to get the C period to print and then push its way above the B period high. Then the donkey trade is potentially buying at the B period low if the C period comes back down. So it's just too early to look for a trend trade. Okay, we got a poor high here in the B period. We often get a push away from a poor high, but then it increases the odds. Well, there you go, repaired. So once again, looking for buyers at the halfback was an opportunity to see, are the buyers trying to take control of the market and take it higher today? We can now do the same with the resistance here around the 42 level. If the buyers can push through, come back down and find support, I would be happy to go long for continuation to the upside. But if they fail, if they push through and pull right back down, or if they can't push through, that is a sign that we're going to get rotation and chop today. Scooball, what about resistance at yesterday's high and a balance area play? Yeah. Could happen. But again, I wouldn't guess ahead of time that we're going to get a balance area. I would wait until I get a signal. So if we got up there and we got resistance and started to head back down, then it would be like, yeah, maybe it's a balance. This could be a balance area low in here. And getting the confirmation that we either look above and fail or we can't get above, could mean this is a balance area high. But right now, it's just a guess. I don't consider this day a balance day. This day was part of the downtrend. So we've only had one balancing day so far in here. But you're right, there could be a great play there. One step at a time. If we can get through this resistance, we should be able to get up there and find out. We're getting ready to switch over to the private stream. So if you are not a member of the brigade, there's a link in the description. You might consider joining. It's just $10 a month and you get to hang out all day. Listen to me ramble on about market generated information. If, by the way, there's like 4 or 5 people the other day when the website was down, there was like 4 or 5 people whose accounts were supposed to like charge for the next month or whatever, and it didn't work because the website was down. I can't go in and fix it. So if you try to log into your account and you can't get in, that might be the case. Just shoot me an email and we'll figure it out. All right, so with the printing of the C period here, the first question is, can we get that C period above that B period high? If we do, we are now one time framing higher. And if that is the case, and we start to one time frame higher, we keep an eye on that B period low. As long as the C period stays above the B period low, we're likely to get continuation to the upside. You could also, if you wanted to be cautious, you could wait to get through this resistance and then buy the support on the way back down. If we fail to get that C period above that B period high, look for continued chop and the market to just grind around until it breaks out of the initial balance, one direction or another. The initial balance is the first hour's trade, so the A and B period combined. With that, I shall bid you all farewell. Happy trading, and we will see you here tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.